actually get into the nitty gritty, the meat and potatoes here, the fantasy football update, any start sits advice you have for us. Oh my God, he's got a page. Here we go. If he's got a page, we're gonna give him the full fucking show. Yeah, let me give you the
Give me the chair. All right, guys. Live and direct from SoCal Tattoo, San Diego, California. Mr. Big Chief Burrito giving you the ins and outs of fantasy football. Clip it, Reed. Anyway, here we are. Biggest news in fantasy football this last week is the two trades. Amari Cooper going from Cleveland to the Buffalo Bills and Davante going from the Raiders into the Jets. JTS, Jets. But who are the winners and the losers? So let's break that down. The winners and the losers of the Davante Adams trade. Winner, A-Rod. Aaron gets reunited with number 17. This is basically good for him. Davante's got a $32 million a year contract next year. None of it's guaranteed. So this is either a 1 or a 2-year renewal for them. That gives them 1 more season or 2 more seasons at the most to try to put up some decent numbers together. Losers, Allen Lazard and Mike Williams. If you have either of those on your teams, downgrade them or try to move them if they get an uptick. Allen Lazard has been getting the Garrett Wilson is covered by 7 people, so who else am I going to throw it to? Mike Williams never built a rapport with Aaron Rodgers so far this year. He's dropped and slipped some passes, and he's not really doing good. It looks like he might be getting traded to the Chargers or Pittsburgh is what I'm hearing. And you would think, Lou, you probably think Garrett Wilson's a big loser in this. No, absolutely not. Garrett Wilson, big winner in this trade. Why? Because as Aaron said in the first couple of weeks, teams are building their entire defense to stop Garrett Wilson. He's one of the league leaders in targets. He's getting 10, 15 targets a game. He's been catching all kinds of balls going over 100 yards. And now he gets one of the best wide receivers in the league that does things better than him. Things that Davante does better than Garrett Wilson is run deep routes. So you replace Allen Lazard with Davante Adams on deep routes. All of a sudden, these defenses are not going to be able to key in on Garrett Wilson in the slot, which means still I believe in Garrett Wilson as a wide receiver 1 for the rest of the year. Davante's a solid number 2. Allen Lazard, Mike Williams, you can dump them or try to get something for them or just let them ride your bench. For the Las Vegas Raiders, what does this mean? They haven't used Davante in the last couple of weeks, so Brock Bowers continues to be the star of that show. If you have him and you believe them in, you are being rewarded all season long. Trey Tucker, wide receiver that's playing the second spot. He had a pretty good week when Davante was gone, then he came back to earth. So now that Davante's gone, and he's going to be more of the focal point with Brock Bowers getting the coverage in the middle, Trey Tucker is a good addition. Alexander Madison as well can get it. Who are the winners? Again, the Cowboys and Jets, because the Cowboys are winners because it got us to stop talking about how shitty a game they had and how much of a public and national disgrace they are for a couple of hours while those trades were going down. So, Jerry Jones, you got the win on that one. In terms of the Cleveland trade, the winners here are Jared Allen. The losers are Jared Allen owners that wanted more touchdowns from him because he's only on pace for about 3,200 yards this year. But that'll be a slight uptick. But with Amari Cooper there, a more reliable wide receiver 1, I believe he's going to be throwing for more first downs than running for first downs. And I believe that that'll be a good deal more for the Bills in real life than it will be for any Bills fantasy player. Jerry Jeudy and David Njoku in Cleveland are the biggest beneficiaries. But last time I checked, they still have Cleveland Diddy, the Massage King, Mr. How About a Happy Ending, sailing passes over people's heads. And Jerry Jeudy's a lot shorter than Amari Cooper. So I don't know. Deshaun Watson doesn't seem to be anywhere near the player that he was several years ago. Maybe the massages were the key. So somebody in Cleveland needs to take one for the team and bust out that baby oil. Bust into that Federal Reserve where they're keeping all the Diddy evidence. Get some of that baby oil and start rubbing your boy down because he needs it. So David Njoku is a great pickup, I think, in tight ends. I think he might have gotten dropped in some leagues. I also saw in a couple of leagues where Dallas Goedert from the Eagles got dropped because he's going to be out a week. Again, my advice is always during these bye weeks 4 through 10, especially, not only look at who the players are that are available. Not only should you be looking at your league and seeing what the highest transaction rates are, because that'll give you a clue of what smart players are doing, but also look at who's getting dropped. Because when you have these tough sit-start decisions, and if your team, your fantasy league doesn't have a ton of roster spots, people are going to have to make very tough decisions, sometimes dropping good players that are on a bye. My biggest fantasy starts for the week are going to be, we're going to roll with the Tank Boys, Tank Bisbee and Tank Dell. Those are my two hot starts for the week. It looks like Etienne is not going to be playing this week, and that means it's all good for the Tank Man. And I think Tank Dell, until Nico Collins comes back, is a solid wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 play, especially if you have a deep team. A fucking awesome flex play if you got Tank Dell. I also think Alexander Madison for the Raiders this week, it's a soft matchup. It should be able to put up a lot. I think between Tank and the two Tanks and Alex Madison, all three of those, I believe, are going to be top 25 plays at their individual positions, and I believe at least 1 or 2 of those will be top 10 plays as well. If you are in a deep lead and are in need of a flex play, pick up the Indianapolis running back Tyler Goodson. It doesn't look like their top 2 running backs, Trey Sermon, I forget the other guy's name that they gave all the money to, but it doesn't look like they're playing. And so Tyler Goodson is a deep league find. At tight end, I already said David Njoku is my tight end for the week. I think that they're going to have to be focused on the short game. And if Jerry Jeudy is your number 1 wide receiver, then David Njoku is going to get a ton of targets. As far as quarterbacks, another thing that I've thought about so far this year is this is a year where you could legitimately, in a 10 or sometimes even a 12-team league, stream your quarterback every week. Every week so far, there's been a quarterback on there on the waiver wire that's finished in the top 10, whether it's Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, what have you. Right now, there's a quarterback out there that you can pick up and start against the worst passing defense and the defense that gives up the most dynamic, crazy plays. And 2 of the people on this podcast root for them. And that is Andy Dalton going up against the soft as fucking cream cheese Commanders defense, giving up the most big plays all year. So if you're in a quarterback and you have a Dak or somebody else that's on a bye this week, or you're just not happy because your team is playing a tough defense, pick up Andy Dalton, play him against the Commanders, thank me later. And for streaming defenses this week, we have 2 choices for you. Obviously, anybody that's playing Cleveland or Jacksonville right now is a good play. So the Cincinnati Bengals playing Cleveland is a great pickup and a great streaming defense. And if you're in a pinch, the LA Rams defense, even though they're not stacked, playing against Las Vegas is a good streaming option for you. Those are the fantasy tips, the ups and downs, the winners and losers of the trade from your boy, Big Chief Burrito.
Fantastic work. As always, you were getting the seal of approval there from Scott, just Scott nodding in the corner.